In today's video, I'm joined by Aaron Bihl, who went from doing just 3 deals last year to 17 so far this year. And we're gonna talk about what the mindset shifts as well as what the increase in marketing budget has looked like to make that jump. As a real estate investor watching this, I realize you might not be doing any direct to seller marketing at all. And that's one of the things I really like about Aaron's story. Back in February, he wasn't doing anything at all. And he kind of went through those same things you're going through of the fear of spending money without being guaranteed a return. Year to date, he's now done 17 off-market deals. Let's hop into this conversation with him about what it was like to go from nothing to $2,000 to $3,000 a month, and now what he's at today.
Going from, not really having a marketing budget to really committing to what was initially, $4,000 a month to, now scaling up to 3 or 4 times that. It's scary. But my thing with jumping into that was trying to find consistency with deals in general. So I had done a few off-market deals, but my biggest thing was like, hey, where's the next one going to come from? And I never knew that, and it was always just like, well, that was a good one. Let's see if somehow I can do that again. So with the marketing, it was a thing that was initially scary, but my plan was always like, hey, as soon as we, do a deal or two, let's like reinvest that. Let's like see if we can, double that and do double the deals, or triple that and do triple the deals. But I mean, it's scary. When I started in, I think March, like I was like, okay, like I can afford this for the year or so. And then it became a thing of like, when I get money back from a deal, hey, let's double what we're spending on this and see what happens. And, let's send twice as much mail and see what happens. But
What were you, back when you started, what was your typical cost per deal? Like how much were you spending to get a new property at a discount?
Like when I first started mailing?
Like back in March, yeah.
Yeah, so I probably sent 5,000 or 6,000 pieces. And then I didn't initially get anything off that, and it wasn't until I got a few deals off of Google Ads that I really saw any return to that. But that was probably, I don't know, $6,000-7,000 in, because my first deal from that was like May, and I started marketing in like March.
Okay, so your first deal off the mail came in May?
Oh man, so mail maybe came later, but I mean, some of that was just like me not working leads because I like had deals from other sources and was like afraid to have more. So I have a lot of mail leads that I didn't touch for a few months. And then surprisingly, when you start like following up, there are actually deals there, and mail's not all that bad.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I like about how you've done this is you started with direct mail, you pivoted to pay-per-click, and then I think you kind of realized there's only so many people searching for We Buy Houses in your city. And then you ended up ramping back up again with direct mail. But you were spending like $3,000 a month back in March, and now you're spending 10 to 12 to 15. Has your deal flow scaled like you wanted it to?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's my cost per deal is about the same.
I mean, that's ideal.
I mean, I'm doing consistently probably 3, 4, 5 deals a month now. When initially, like I started the year and I was like, man, if I could figure out how to do like 1 a month, like 2 a month, like I'll be in good shape. And then it just becomes a thing of like, okay, well, this marketing gets me this, like, we talk about this of like, hey, like, let's reverse engineer 6 or 7 deals a month and, see what the marketing spend needs to be to get there and, what that should look like. And I'm not quite at that point. I mean, I think October is a good month, and I think we did like 7. But not quite at that consistency. But I mean, it's been pretty scalable to say, hey, if I want to do this many deals, like this is what my marketing needs to look like.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine that just hit me up that was like, hey, I want to do 50 deals by March. And I was like, bro, that's a goal. And I was like, okay, cool. Like working off my numbers, my typical cost per deal is $2,500 to $3,000 to get a property off market. Like, so if you want to do 50, you need to spend $125,000 to $150,000 in the next 4 months. Are you prepared to do that? And I think that's kind of the thing people don't realize with this is like what you put into it really is what you're going to get out of it. Like I've used the expression like a function equation, right? Like my goal is always to figure out how much I have to put in to get a house out of the back end and then see how much I can cram in and does it scale? And it sounds like in your experience in your market so far, I mean, it has.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like, an exact science, but I mean, a lot of times this stuff comes in waves too of like, I get like all upset. I'm like, man, it's been 2 or 3 weeks without a deal. And then you get like 2 or 3 back to back. And it's like, okay, let's just hit another one of those stretches soon.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's the thing too. It's like, I have deals now that we've been following up for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. That, like I could have given up on or written off months ago and said, man, this doesn't work. But it's more of a thing of consistency. So you don't know when those are going to finally hit. And then, you get some of those that are just like laydowns that are always nice too, of like the first call, they're just like good to go.
You can have it.
Yeah. There's been a few of those and you're like, man, I needed one of these after, the ones that take months. But I think it's definitely scalable. It's just maybe not on like the exact like time frame that I think it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. There's also, I think, a lot of variables which people don't take into account. Of like, you mentioned you had leads you let sit for months, which I love your honesty. I mean, that's one of the reasons I asked you to do this. Pardon this interruption. A couple people have told us down in the comments that I talk too much with my hands. But if you're enjoying this video, please like as well as subscribe. We're putting a ton of effort into this channel and would love your help in helping it take off. Back to where we were. If you hadn't let stuff sit for months, it probably would have happened sooner. You also mentioned there was times you paused marketing because you started to get uncomfortable, and then you were dead in the water after that.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of that. So like, so I think the first deal this year was like May, and then I had like 2 or 3 like all at once. So I kind of just like one like funds got tight. Also like trying to like figure out closings with 2 or 3 deals is like, and 2 of those being flips or whatever, it just gets scary. And then yeah, and it became a thing of like, okay, like once I got those done, I was like comfortable in like the end of like July, beginning of August, but I hadn't been marketing. I stopped sending mail because I was like, one, I can't afford this, and two, like I don't like mail and don't think it works. So I mean, I think like a lot of that's like you say a lot that we get paid for like 30 days from now on what we're doing today, or 30 or 40 days from now. And I think a lot of that's true too, of like, okay, things are like scary or tight, like, okay, keep marketing. Like, like once you like get through like figuring the situation out, you're going to be glad that you're still marketing, because you're still going to have that deal flow once you're like ready for it again.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine who is a flipper who was using personal capital to fund flips, which, I mean, good for him. I wasn't at that level when I started, but he was going direct to seller. He was getting really good deals. He got 2 or 3 deals and then was like, okay, I'm going to pause everything because I'm out of cash till these close. And I think, the people that are watching this that aren't doing any direct to seller marketing or just starting need to be aware of the fact that as you scale this, there's going to be new challenges at like new levels as new devils. Like I would rather have big problems that need solved in my business than the problems of like, I have no leads, I have no opportunities. I would rather have problems like yours of, okay, I have 3 deals. I haven't done this before. How do I close 3 deals at once?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we talked about this too. I think it was like September, October. I like texted you and I was like, dude, we have like 7 or 8 deals under contract. Like, we're like taking the day off because I'm like scared. And you're like, why? Like, you're just not gonna work because you don't want more deals. And I was like, I don't know what to do. It's like I've never done this before. It's scary. But it's like with that, like now that's like a thing of like, okay, like I had a lot of closings in October. Like we can figure it out. And some of that too is like I hired a manager, and part of it's like for him to like make sense, like we got to have deals, we got to have leads, like we got to spend money to like justify like having someone else to, go get deals or like go meet with sellers and all that. So all of that has just been, each of those like growth and, stretching you is like produce new challenges, but then it's like, okay, now like I'm comfortable with this. Like we can push beyond that. And honestly, it's kind of the thing where it's taught me to just like be okay with like being uncomfortable or with new challenges of like, recently I've had more houses than I want, like not get through closing. And it's like, okay, like maybe we'll flip this one when we thought we had it sold, whatever. But I think it's just a thing of like, with all the challenges, you just get more uncomfortable with like things not going well and with like things not going as planned. And you're just like, okay, like it's going to take more than that to, slow us down or to stop us. But I don't know. I mean, that's kind of been my recent experience with some of this.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the big lessons I've learned is it's really easy to get comfortable with where you're at. Like when I first started, my first direct mail campaign was like a total Hail Mary of like, geez, I hope I get something. And then it got to the point that I was at like 2,000 a month consistently in marketing, and I got pretty comfortable there. And then I was still broke because I was horrible at getting my average profit per deal. I would spend 2,000 on marketing to make $3,000 on a deal and had bills to pay in the meantime. And I remember when I decided, okay, I want to do a deal a week, which meant I needed to spend roughly $2,500 a week or $10,000 a month on marketing. And that got like week 1, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna crush this. Week 2, I was kind of like, I don't know. Week 3, I was like, I don't think I should do this anymore. And then like by week 5 though, it was like things clicked. And I think one of the pieces to this is there's almost less risk as you spend more, because even like a blind squirrel is going to find their nut, right? But if like you do a Hail Mary campaign and that's all you're planning on doing, you mentioned just a second ago, you had deals that you worked for 5 or 6 months. I think a lot of people, if they do what I did, like a Hail Mary campaign, and they're not prepared to stick with it, they might give up before that deal pans out.
Yeah, and I think the approach a lot of times is like, what's the minimum I can do to get a deal, or what's the minimum I can do to get 2 or 3 deals? And I don't know. I've found like, hey, let's hedge our bets the other way and spend a little more than we're comfortable with. And generally, it seems like there's less margin of error with that bigger sample size. And for me personally, it's a thing of like, when we have deals and we have leads, like we're a lot less thirsty. We're a lot less likely to try to make deals that aren't. When you have that like one lead and you're like, man, I'm trying
You're
to get
selling yourself on it. Like, man, I think.
And you're like, I'm trying to get my first deal, and like, I've never bought like a commercial property, but this is the one. Like, I think we see that a lot too of like, it's just a thing of like, when you have consistent like deal flow, it's like, okay, like these are the numbers that work. Like if it works, great. If it doesn't, great. And it's fine. And for me personally, I think it's helpful too, because I think we do well mainly based on the way we approach sellers and the way we interact with sellers. And at the end of the day, like I tell people often, like, hey, we may be the best option for you and we may not. And at the end of the day, we want to do what's best for you, and we really believe that. And that's a lot easier to say when you like don't really need that deal. Like when you like it, but you don't like need it. And so I think like it's helped that approach too, because like I have zero issue going to meet with a seller and saying, hey, list this house. Like, and like if you want the most money, list it. Like, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But if I like haven't had a deal in like 6 weeks, my tone and my approach is a lot different, I've found with sellers. Then I'm like, hey, I'm just a resource. Like, let me help you do what's best for you. If that's us, great. If not, great. Like,
well, it's you moving from across the table to sitting next to them and, hey, let's figure this out together, instead of you being like, oh geez, please, I really need this. We call it commission breath. of like, if you've ever been on like a used car lot. I'll never forget my parents, our car broke down. They're at a lot and a guy was trying to sell them a Dodge Dart. Ugliest car ever made, by the way. And he was like, it's $7,000. And my dad was like, nah, you know, I'm looking for something bigger. And the guy was like, what if it was 3? And it was like, no, like that's not a good sign. So last year you did 3 deals. So far this year you've done 17. What are your top 2 pieces of advice you would give somebody? I mean, really, you started marketing in March. Somebody who's in, you know, your February heading into their March, like they're getting ready to start trying to make this a thing. What are the top 2 takeaways you've got for them?
Consistency in marketing, I think, would be the first of, hey, when things are going well, market. When things aren't going well, market.
Okay.
And that's probably the first one. And then the second one is like follow up like crazy. And that's, you know, what I've seen that works for me and my company is, you know, we follow up with people for, months. And sometimes that's multiple times a week. Sometimes it's, you know, a few times a month. But like when I brought in my acquisitions manager, there was a lead now that we have as a listing that I like completely like given up on. The guy, I don't know what he came through. I think maybe a Google ad or something. Never got a hold of him. My acquisitions manager started reaching out to him, and it turns out he's just has a lot of fear with coronavirus, which I never knew. I just assumed he changed his mind. I would have never talked to him. I was just kind of like it was at the point where I'm like going to delete the guy. And then, you know, 3 months later, after still following up with him all the time, it turns into a deal of something I didn't even know was in my CRM. So I think consistency with marketing and, you know, following up like crazy.
That's awesome, dude. I appreciate you being willing to hop on and do this with us. Anybody who wants to follow more of your journey, which they absolutely should, because your social media is hilarious, of a day in the life of a real estate investor, what's the best way for them to do that?
Probably Instagram. My Instagram's pretty raw, which you can attest to.
Yeah. It's like between PG-13 and R.
Yeah.
Like a TV MA maybe.
Yeah, it's like one of those where you're like, hey, should I post this? No, you shouldn't. Okay, here we go.
I mean, it's real though. It's like,
yeah, it's real. It's honest. You know, I try to give people a real picture of what's going on, not just, you know, a highlight reel. But yes, my Instagram is Bihlster1, BIHLSTER1.
Perfect.
And
we'll link to it. We'll link to it down below as well.
Okay, awesome.
Anything else you've got in closing for people?
I don't think so.
Scared money don't make money?
Yeah, something like that.
I hope you guys found this helpful and learned some things from it. It's been several years since I kind of had to overcome that initial hurdle from not marketing at all to getting the marketing going out the door. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you found this helpful. As always, we've got videos coming out every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Stuff you're enjoying, be sure to tell your friends.